Hello, my name's Longfield and I'm the Children's Commissioner for England. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes just congratulating you on your fantastic Health Visitors Week, wishing you all the best in the important activities throughout the week, and also saying a few things at your conference today about some of the policy issues that I know you're going to be discussing. Now, my job is all about looking out for children and being the eyes and ears of children, if you like, in the system. It's about representing the experience of children to decision makers and making sure that decision makers take into account the best interests of children when they're making those decisions, be they the smallest of decisions in practice, but also the biggest of decisions at policy level. Now, I'm a big fan of health visitors, and I don't think there's any parent in the land that doesn't remember the relief they had when their health visitor knocked on that door for the first time when they had their baby. And as a parent, I just want to say thank you for doing that. It's something that absolutely everyone knows, and I think gives huge amount of support that you should be very proud of. But as Children's Commissioners, there are three areas that I'm working on that I just wanted also to raise with you that I think you're discussing throughout your day of the conference, but also just wanted to let you know a little bit more about what I'm doing. Now, to deliver my role, I get two superpowers. One is about collecting data. I can request data on any child from a public service throughout the land, really powerful tool. And the other is about gaining power of entry, so I can enter places where children are away from home and talk to them about their well-being and any concerns. That's something that I do, my team do regularly for children who are in custody, if they're in hospital, if they're in children's homes, and the like. But the data collection piece is a really important way of finding out what people are experiencing on the ground and making sense of that data that we all struggle to get a grips with. And there's three areas that really speak to many of the things I think that you're talking about at the conference today. The first is around mental health. Earlier this year, I conducted what I call a lightning review of children's access to mental health. Children had come to see me, and indeed professionals, over the last year and talked to me about their concerns that actually children, some of who had life-threatening conditions, weren't getting the help and support they need. Now, I know there's a huge amount of policy work going on, and indeed practice and development, to improve services for children with mental health, and I can see that happening in many areas of the country. But the figures that came through to me from the data collection were that there is a really mixed picture. There's a significant number of children with life-threatening conditions who aren't getting to see a CAMHS expert, and also many who are waiting an awful long period of time, possibly up to 6 weeks. This is something that I know everyone wants to resolve. There's some great practice happening, and for those that are getting treatment, some great treatment and support too. But we have to get better, and I think school nurses and health visitors have a really important part to play in helping children to be able to identify when they've got anxieties and problems early on, to prevent children having to rely and seek those high-end services, and especially services when things fall into crisis. The second is around asylum seekers. I've done a lot of work around unaccompanied asylum seeking children, and you'll be aware that there are new resettlement schemes for both vulnerable children and indeed for Syrian families too. That's something I think local authorities around the country should be proud about, and there's been a recent announcement that local authorities are ready to be able to provide support for the 20,000 Syrian families. I've been particularly involved with children who've been in Calais, who have family in this country, and I've been looking at how we can speed up the process to enable those to join their family in the UK through the agreement called Dublin III. Once they're in this country, I'm in no doubt that the absolute support of health visitors is really important. Again, I would really urge you to work closely with other partners, with social services and with other agencies, to be able to help provide that support that we know unaccompanied asylum seekers and indeed the wider vulnerable families need. And then finally, school nurses. This report will have been produced by the time we get to this conference, and what it does is highlight again the fantastic work that is underway in schools around the country. School nurses and indeed children say to me that they think they need to be able to offer more accessible support for children. There's some worrying trends around paperwork, there's some worrying trends around casework too. What young people say to me is they want to be able to get access to someone they know and trust, again, to be able to talk to them through their own about their own well-being and their own anxieties and mental health. Again, 3 really important functions there that I know many health visitors around the country are already engaged with. So I want to thank you for the great work, urge you to really get stuck into those important policy areas, and urge you to reach out and work in partnership with all of those others who are working so strongly with children and their families in the community, be that in children and family centres or be that in other areas too. There is so much that we know children need support for health visitors, and there's such an important need. I'd urge you to be bold and look to the future and look at creative new ways to deliver that support. And from children, young people everywhere, a great thank you for all you do, and look forward to much more work with you in the future. Thank you.